Yeah, our live stream was a 4 hour live stream. There's like 400 views on it. And so, people certainly found out about it and people are fired up. I had Tony texting me and a couple of people, Ignacio texting me saying, "Hey man, you guys are real ones for putting this together." For those of us outside.
Yeah, we didn't announce it because we weren't 100% sure what the situation was going to be with the quality of the internet, but we wanted to try to get as much out there for you as possible. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, we had quite a good turnout and we're excited. Look, the reason that we're doing this call, part of the reason is because we want to do a recap about the event. Okay, we want to do a little bit of a recap and just a little bit of our takeaways, and also a little bit. We're going to touch on some of the reason why we're doing this call at 7 p.m. This is going to be something that's going to be ongoing. We have a lot going on in our calendar in the morning times, but we wanted to make sure that we had something going in the evening. We had a phenomenal dinner, well, late lunch, early dinner yesterday with some of key leaders that, really we feel very honored. Not only that they flew out here and dedicated the time to really get to know us personally and get to know what's in our heart, what's in the mission, what's in the vision for this company. These are powerhouses. These are people that have led, I mean, thousands of people. These are people that have been life changers. They have transformed people's lives, people's incomes. They have equipped people. It's always, you always can tell when someone knows all the ins and outs of the business, when someone knows how to build up people, when someone knows how to really build up people and help them become leaders. When they know how to lead, it's one thing to be a top producer. It's one thing to, there's some people that they just know, no matter what company they go to, they know who they are, they know their experience, they know what they bring to the table, and they know how they're going to impact that company and just in their personal production. And we love those people. We want those people here as well. We want them to make this their home. But it's just a different category, and you could just, it's so palpable to know when someone has really been in the trenches. Not only have they been top producers, but they've created top producers. They know how to bring out the best in people. They know how to teach, they know how to mentor. It's one thing, teaching, training, mentoring, and coaching. Those are four different roles that you take in somebody's life. And when someone's done this at the level of thousands of people, the questions they ask are telling. The things they're looking about, the things they're coming to find out about the company, the things they're coming to find out about how we're going to build it and who we're catering to, that tells you you've got the right people. And to me, honestly, that gives me goosebumps. I'm really excited about the people that came out. We spent some time together. They contributed so much in just a few hours on what's on the top of their mind and what they're really focused on. And so I want to bring some of these people and introduce them to you. Actually, what I'm going to ask JC, we have our VP of sales here, and he's been the catalyst of bringing all of these people together. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and talk a little about each one of these people. And for those of you who don't know who JC Rangel is, and I don't know how anyone could be on this call and not know who JC Rangel is anyway at this point, but he's our VP of sales. This is a gentleman that my husband and I met, I want to say like 2014. And we sat down, and I had one of those same moments with you, actually, JC. Exactly what I just described happened with JC when we sat down. I remember it was dinner. We had a quick meal, and we had a conversation about his background and what he was looking for in a company at that moment, and what was important to him, and how he was going to build this out, and how he was going to bring his team to be able to get to a really breakthrough moment in his career. And so it's the same type of conversation we were having that day. So this is someone that I've seen go from industry to industry. I've seen him go from any kind of project, really, because he's so good at selecting the project is the reason why he's been able to create something so phenomenal for all of you guys with Build. But I think this is the time that he's been able to really take everything that he knows in the industry and create something phenomenal that all of you are going to be able to leverage. So JC, talk to us a little bit about who we have on the call today.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Carla. And by the way, we just broke 101 people, which is exciting. We are a brand new company. People are excited about what we've got going on. And so, yeah, we've got a couple of people. Thank you very much, Mrs. Pacheco. I appreciate that. She is such a powerhouse leader and entrepreneur for the men and the women, right? A lot of you guys have been requesting for us to get Ms. Pacheco on, and we delivered here today, right? So excited to put this thing together. What we've got here is we've got, and Mr. Sam Bean, I want to give him the credit. I'm going to address and mention who he is here shortly for those of you that may not know. But he was mentioning about doing something in the evenings, right? And how he's built teams. And I'm going to get into a little bit about this, but there's two individuals here, really three, right? Because, you know, one of these individuals, I'm referring to them as a couple, have had, get this, this is the Millionaire Mentorship Call. This is an introduction to the Millionaire Mentorship Call. Okay, so today's a recap of the event and an introduction to the Millionaire Mentorship Call. So we were talking to Mr. Sam Bean and Mr. Kevin Marino at at dinner yesterday, and he was mentioning how, you know, it'd be good for us to have something in the evening. Makes sense, right? A lot of people are working throughout the day, so the evening is the only time that they can get on training. I was like, well, listen, we already had planned to do that anyway, so let's get it going sooner rather than later. I said, tomorrow is Monday. Why don't we just start it tomorrow, introduce people to it? So what we've got is, we've got Mr. Kevin Marino, Mr. Sam Bean, Mrs. Pacheco, Mr. Wences Navarro, our founder, and myself, and every single one of these people have made 7 figures in this industry multiple times over, right? So we're talking about people that are proven leaders in the industry, right? So we want to teach people. So how many of you guys are excited about learning from this lineup of people? I want you to put it in the chat. If you're excited, you want to put a fire emoji, you want to put a 1 or whatever the case may be, 1 or a fire emoji. Let's go ahead and put it. Also, I had a great time with Mr. Idris yesterday. He came all the way from New York, Success leaves clues, right? He's done some incredible things in network marketing as well, and in the solar industry. By the way, Mr. Idris is also a mentor in our organization. So I'm going to introduce these folks a little bit here. So obviously, you guys have met on multiple occasions. Mr. Pacheco, he is a gentleman who is a mentor of mine, made 8 figures in the industry. He's the biggest months that he's made are 7 figures in 1 month, ladies and gentlemen. That's over $1 million in a month, okay? Has crushed it every way, and he's been crushing it for decades. He's had his ups and downs in business, but I think you don't measure a man or a woman by their ups. You measure a man or a woman by how they handle their downs and how they bounce.
We lost him.
Zoom couldn't handle him. He was too much on fire.
Let's see how he bounces back.
That's right. That's
Let's see how he bounces back.
It's in how he handles when he's down that matters.
Oh my
Anyway,
goodness.
There he is.
There you are. But you bounced back good.
Yes.
You know, Les Brown says a setback is a setup for a comeback.
That's
So,
right.
comeback, right? So, but anyways, Mr. Pacheco, in my eyes, he's one of the top mentors I've ever had in my life. We worked together on several occasions, and even the times that we did not work together, we always maintained friends. We always supported each other. As he put it yesterday when we were having dinner, he says, this group of founders here, we're not just business partners. We do life together. Does that make sense? As a matter of fact, we got a show that we are going to be watching here shortly that we're all taking our, you know, as couples, we're all going to go watch a show together. And so, you know, I know that we're going to reschedule that is what I'm saying, because I know that you guys have a trip to go to. So with that being said, you know, you've got Mr. Pacheco, and then you've got his lovely wife, Mrs. Carla Pacheco, who's just an absolute stud. and also 7-figure and 8-figure earner in the industry, and just one of the sharpest people, one of the sweetest people that you'll ever meet. And I mean, with so many men around, it's very nice to have such a sharp, strong woman to help us and to balance us out a little bit, right? At least to help me out, right? Everybody else is a lot nicer than I am. I'm the guy that's a little bit more aggressive and stuff, but I'm getting
Not
better.
at all.
You know, so she's the kind of woman that people like my wife tell me, man, you know, Carla, she's just so on point and stuff, and that's what I want to be like. I'm like, well, listen, we're working with them now. We're going to be dealing with them a lot more. So I'm super excited for that. And then, Mr. Sam Bean, Mr. Sam Bean, 7 figures is his biggest month. 7 figures in a month, absolute legend. Build a team of, I believe, over 100,000 people. And in multiple times, he's done this. And more importantly, he's also helped a lot of people become very, very successful. He's the person that is also going to introduce today a system that we're going to be creating on Facebook to attract more leads, more sales, and more customers and more recruits into your business. That we're going to just do an introduction here today. We'll do a training at a later moment, but a legend in the industry, no doubt. And then we also have Mr. Kevin Marino. You guys have heard from Kevin. Kevin is a guy that we've known each other for a long time. We never worked together. I never had the pleasure of working with him until now. And I got to tell you, he's the one that started doing the webinars. The reason why we've been doing webinars for over a month is because Kevin was the one that said, we got to do more meetings. We got to do more meetings. There's more people that need this. We need this more often. My point is, he knows how to build. He's owned his own network marketing company before, just like Mr. and Mrs. Pacheco. He's got a lot of experience on the field side and on the corporate side. And as you guys can see, he's one of the presenters here. And to be able to attract that caliber of leader, right? Like Mr. Kevin Marino, Mr. Sam Bean, right? To be able to attract these founders to come together and work together is really something special. When Mr. Navarro and I were talking about this, we were saying, those big leaders, we're going to attract those leaders. What we've got is so special that these big guys and the little guys, the experienced guys and the inexperienced guys and girls, they're coming. Then as we start seeing people like Mr. Marino, Mr. Bean come over, we're like, that's exactly what we said was going to happen. And then finally, we've got our incredible, fearless founder. And I think all of you guys that saw the video and all of you guys that were at the event got to see this gentleman's heart, right? He made his first million by the age of 30, has made a lot of money, has helped a lot of people, has the biggest heart. I couldn't think of a better founder than Mr. Navarro. Again, he and I have been friends for a long time. Our wives know each other. Our kids know each other. And it's just truly an honor to be working here. So I believe that we've got a star lineup when it comes to this Millionaire Mentorship Con. Here's the deal. We're going to have more people. And we plan on breaking a lot of 7-figure earners. So we're going to deliver value. That's going to happen every single Monday to kick off the week at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that being said, my question to these ladies and gentlemen is, are you guys ready to get into this recap and into this session today?
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Ready.
Awesome. All right. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and make sure that everybody's muted outside of the people that are going to be doing this call. And we're going to have Mrs. Pacheco lead the way with this particular call. And we're going to have a dialogue about this weekend. So, let's get it going.
Well, I'm one of the things that stood out the most to me was really the way that there's some things that are just, organic that happen when you start creating a culture for a company. It's going to be impacted, one, by the people that are leading it, and two, by the leaders that you're attracting that are going to be leading it. And so I really want to hear a little bit especially from Sam and from Kevin about, what's attracted them the most about this particular opportunity, and where they see what they see is going to be the hottest draw towards the opportunity, and where they see the culture that's going to be created.
Well, Kevin, if you don't mind me going first, I really am excited about this venture. I was retired, like I said, out of network marketing, and I wasn't planning on coming back. And I've been turning people down for the past 2, almost 3 years. And people who I liked, people who had great companies, but network marketing wasn't for me. Okay. And so it was at one of those points where I felt like the industry had died, and everything that was coming up from big ticket sales to crypto and everything else was basically drowning the industry out and choking it out. And there was no way for people to make really everybody else besides people like myself, people like yourself, Carla and Daniel and Winston is making money. It's like the average person wasn't going to make any money. So I was looking for something else to do. And so when Deanna, told me about this, I just looked at it because, I basically, she was a friend of mine and with no intentions of doing it at all. As a matter of fact, I didn't even look at the video for the first maybe week and a half. When I finally looked at it, the first thing I heard was the company is based off of high ticket sales. It was a high ticket network marketing company. So for me, I've always had this thing where I'm not a network marketer. I'm a business person that uses network marketing to move millions of dollars of products and services around the world to make millions of dollars for me and my people. So I'm already in a high ticket space. So I said, this fits me perfectly. But what I need to do right now is do a little research. And so I looked at all other companies that are in the solar space, since you are leading with solar, and I realized that you guys had everything that I needed, except for what I got a chance to figure out this weekend, which is the ownership, the founders, and the hearts of the people who are steering the ship. But I figured out that JC, as he just didn't have the title of VP of sales. He's got 2,100 closes group wise. As the person who's tenured, he's not just saying, call me a leader. I've led by example. And you have Winston, again, who I got a chance to listen to his story. And the number one thing he said outside of his resume that was impressive was be kind to people. And it hit me in a way that, people, you won't understand. But if you look at every big story in network marketing, and if somebody who came from nothing and became everything, they were going through something, at that time. And somebody was kind enough to give them opportunity and take them by the hand and lead them to millions. And so that hit me and resonated with me because I'm going through some things, and a lot of us are. But his resume, the millions that he made and how he made it in such a diversified fashion, it lets me know that this person is somebody who is not going to be, with tunnel vision. This guy's got vision. He's flexible, and that was one of the things that took us under in one of my last companies that we went in. We made it real big on one thing, and we sat there and we let the industry catch up to us. And so I saw that, and then I saw Mr. Pacheco get on stage, and he talked about edification, which has been, lost to the industry, leadership, which has been lost to the industry. And it's one of those things where you have people who are making money out there and they have no discipline, they have no structure, they have no foundation, they have no leadership, no edification, no respect. And those people lose everything they build because they have nothing for it to be built on. And so it's just, all the things that I heard. I called my wife when I got to know him, and I told you this, when we were at dinner, and I had a conversation with my wife, and I just told her, I said, I found home, and this is a place that I can hang my hat and be proud to do it. And this just fits me like a glove. And so I just want to appreciate, I want you to know, Mr. Pacheco, JC, and all other founders, that I really appreciate you guys for giving us this opportunity to come in here and help you guys make this company into something special. So I'll turn it over to you, Kevin. Well, I'll turn it back over to you.
From now on, I'm going first, so I don't have to follow this guy. So I'll tell you, this was such a great weekend. This is probably one of the best weekends I've had in a really, really long time. Because I mean, as well as you can get to know people over the phone and via Zoom, there's nothing like spending the better part of 4 days with folks to really kind of start to understand. Yeah, I had to get my build hat on going
Nice.
too. Yeah, it was a pleasure. It really was, because I got to sit down and talk with everybody individually and just understand that, as we were going through and I'm gonna try not to, repeat some of the stuff that Sam was talking about, because we're very much on the same page, what we were looking for, where we came from, where we were at that moment, looking for a home. And, when I spoke and talked about the fact that, there's not a lot of high-end stuff out there that really is worth a while. And there's, the thought of, oh my God, going out and building another 50 to 100,000 person organization to make the kind of money I want to make. I'm like, all right, there's another, 3 to 5 year excursion there. And I said, I didn't want to do that. And then unfortunately leaves too many people behind. So what I see here, and Carla, to your point, what I see here is we have the ability to bring the average networker or someone who's never even done it before and show them how they can make some significant money by the end of their second month.
Right.
Put some leads in, let the mentors start closing them for them right out of the gate. And all of a sudden they're making, a few $1,000s per deal. And, we get JC cooking on closing deals for them, and he closes a few deals, and all of a sudden they made $10,000, by the end of their second month. I mean, how cool is that? And that's something anybody can come in and start to make. So that changes the game for all the people we've talked to along the way, all the people we've worked with along the way, who have taken a year or 2 or 3 to get to $3,000 to $5,000 a month. They can be doing that within their first 60 to 90 days here. And then the ability, to really get the people in the middle of the country who don't have solar to put on, they can't walk and go door to door and get their relatives right there. But these guys know how to build teams of people. Well, if they build a team of people that has 500, 1,000 people, well, 10% of them go out and they're in solar states and they go out and make a sale. Well, that one guy can't go do it, but he just put 50 to 100 people in that can go do it. So, I mean, all of that helps the company, helps people grow, and helps people build an income where, I mean, this is a very different income than people have been able to build with the combination of the high ticket and the network marketing. So I'm psyched. I mean, it's a hybrid, and I'm having fun talking about it, and I haven't had fun for a while. So,
Yeah.
as you guys found out this weekend.
If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. I know that's said over and over, and it can be, it can be challenging, but you have to be able to enjoy it. One of the things,
Yes.
And you both touched on it about high ticket sales, and I have to tell you that, I think I've formally involved in sales since I was about 19 years old. And with that, you can imagine, like anybody else who's been involved in sales, you're going to be approached about, some sort of direct sales, network marketing throughout the years. You're going to be bombarded. You're going to be targeted. It's like you have a big bullseye on the back, and everybody wants to get you into something. And my husband talked about, Daniel, he talked about, about how I was his toughest recruit, right? He thought he was enemy number 1 of network marketing until he tried to approach me with it. And, I think that part of the reason was because I had been involved in sales or had some sort of, pretty good income happening, at an early age, I wasn't easily swayed. The idea of residual was attractive to me. It really was. It's probably why I would hear a presentation or 2 or 3 or 10, right? But then when they would start doing the numbers for me of how I was going to get there, okay, and the dollar amounts were so tiny that I was going to need all this volume. I was like, my time and attention is here. It's producing this much to me. In order for me to shift it here, to be able to get to the point where it's going to be that residual, that is what's really attracting me to it, it's going to take a while. And it just never made sense for me, right? Until a high ticket sales opportunity was presented to me. And it had the residual, both the high ticket and the residual. And I said, okay, this I can run with. So I think that's one of the reasons that I'm excited to hear both of you mention that part, because I think we've all seen, especially you two, you've seen people come and go into this industry, get in there fired up, and then they can't see the results quick enough in the amounts that they need in order to really shift focus. And so I'm excited to hear both of you mention that, and the way that it was masterfully designed by the founders to where you don't have to know how to do it in order to get those to leverage those high ticket sales. I mean, that's amazing. So we could talk about it all day long, but to hear you two attracted by that, when you know not only what you can do personally, but what you can bring people and build large organizations to be able to leverage. So thank you for that. I do want to hear a little bit from Danny, from Wences, and from JC. And what I want to ask you guys is, I know that you guys have worked together before, and I know that, like you guys mentioned and how they heard, is that we do life together, really. Like, we are not we may not be doing work together. We may not be working on a project together. I don't even know how that's possible, because I think we're involved in some way or another in each other's projects. But even when we're not, we do life together. And so I want to hear a little bit about, more about what your priorities are. All three of you have been in companies where I know firsthand that you've been in companies where you've been frustrated because you've brought all this volume, and either they implode or they don't understand and they self-sabotage because they don't understand the field. And so I want all three of you to talk about build from that perspective. If there's anyone out there where they're really, they're really about their, because it's a startup, and startups are startups, right? There's going to be the challenges in startups. We all know the advantages and disadvantages, but from a long-term perspective, someone that really wants to make this their home in the way that these two gentlemen have just mentioned, and anybody out there that's looking where they're gonna plant their flag, what can you talk about that subject?
Carla, I'll go first. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So, man, my voice is already gone. But here's what I want to say. Before I get to that, can I clarify? Well, something that's been like kind of itching at me since Saturday. Let me talk about that for a few minutes here, just 2 minutes, because at the event, I was like, man, he sounded like a softie there. People are gonna be like, man, this guy's a softie. Man, believe me, I am the most competitive person that I know. Maybe behind like Michael Jordan and Tom Brady, but outside of those two, I am competitive, guys. So don't think that we don't have a softie here. We're gonna make it happen, right? But at the same time, I just wanted you guys to know, where my heart is, right? And what we're gonna do here. But we're gonna get competitive. It's gonna get competitive here in a heartbeat. So just wanted to mention that. Now touching on what you said, Carla, I think that it's important for those that are new. It might not be as important, but since we have a lot of experienced people here, I think it's important that they know that we took a lot of time to build out the infrastructure, and we have all the pieces that we need. Right? They might not all be there like right now, this second. And like Mr. Pacheco said, if you want everything to be perfect, come back in 6 months, right? Because, and here's the reason why, we can't have everything ready because different things are there. There's a lot of moving parts, right? So I want people to know that we're building a really, really strong foundation when it comes to the technology, when it comes to the operations in general. Because with a project like this, right, I tell people this is a mini construction project, right? Solar is a mini construction project. So you need to have a strong foundation. The reason why we're getting people from other companies is because they don't have that strong foundation, when it comes to operations. And I know you, Carla, you and I think alike, and you always talk about operations, right? Because we can do all this other cute stuff, right? All this other stuff, get everybody motivated and rallied up and go get deals and go get sales. But if you bring them and they don't get installed and they don't get done in a timely manner, right, then we're back to where we started. So I just want everybody to know from that standpoint, we're going to do it right, and we're going to build it right. So you don't have to build it again. Build it again.
JC?
That was well said, Mr. Navarro. Well said. I appreciate that. Yes, I mean, man, it's really exciting to be a part of this company and seeing, 2 years ago when Mr. Navarro approached me about doing something like this, I just wasn't confident enough to take on such a big undertaking, right? And but as I started to learn about the industry from the sales side, heavily on the sales side, heavily on the team building sales side, and personally recruiting, knowing who the players are out there, and just asking, finding out, right? Because I looked at this industry, being involved in network marketing for 22 years now. Time flies. That means I started when I was 10, right? So just kidding. So being involved for that long in the industry, it gets to a point where I felt the same way. The industry is changing. In 2020, I felt like, I think I'm going to be done with the industry, go do high ticket sales, right? And that's what, and when I mentioned in that video, that's what a lot of people end up doing. They end up going into high ticket sales. That's what I did. And I knew that there was a lot of money in solar. And I learned a long time ago that the T in timing is far more important than the T in talent when it comes to making money and when it comes to opportunities. The thing is, the vehicle, though, so we could be selling the best thing in the world, in my opinion, the easiest sale in the world that pays the highest commissions. But if the vehicle is not the right vehicle, then you're capped, right? So I said, how can we make this something significantly better? So we had to have the right install partner that gets the most coverage and W2 installers. And I got to tell you, man, I've closed a lot of deals in solar, and I've experienced this, and I see a major difference that I'm extremely happy with. And it's important from a leadership standpoint that people know this, as Mr. Navarro touched on. At the end of the day, we're still dealing with solar projects. We get paid based on the size of the problem that we solve. We get paid big money for doing these solar projects. This is high ticket. We're not selling a gold pack here, right? We're selling a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 system, right? Therefore, you make a huge amount of money, but guess what? We've got to work for it, right? The sales cycle is a little bit longer, but the cool thing about Build Network is that we've got that passive residual income. We've got the fast start coded bonuses. We've got the ADT security sales, the M1s, and all this stuff that there's money in between. So, and then the last part was we had to assemble the right team. So when we got the executive staff, I talked to Mr. Navarro and I said, listen, if we could get Danny and Carla, right? I always address them as Mr. and Mrs. Pacheco, but I'm telling you how I said to Mr. Navarro. I said, if we could get Danny and Carla, man, that made me feel so much better, because they are like that piece that we need. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't think of anybody better. He says to me like this, I could get them. And so I said, bro, you get them? My answer is yes. You get them, like, I'm already close to a yes, bro. But if you get them, my answer, you already know my answer. If they tell you it's a go, then you know what my answer is, and we run, right? So then he calls me back like 30 minutes later. Hey, they're in. We got to meet at their house. I said, let's go. The next day, we were in their house in the morning, crashing their house, having breakfast and coffee at their house, right? In one of the rooms downstairs and stuff, and it was awesome, man. So we put something special here together. And I think all of you guys that went to the event were able to see that, we're not here to compete with anybody. We're here to just do the best job that we could and provide the best opportunity for our people, for our customers. And we wish blessings upon every other company out there, but we're not competing with them. We're competing with ourselves to be better today than we were yesterday. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of wealth. There's plenty of success for everybody, right? Let's go out there and get it by helping more people. So anyways, I'm excited to be here, guys.
So if I can build a little bit on everything that's been said right now, I want to talk a little bit about the personal touch, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. When Mr. Navarro was telling a story, it touched all of us, even the ones that already know the story or have heard the story. To be able to experience that in the room together, it was just magical. It was what everybody needed to hear, because when you have the scars, when you have the wounds that this industry could leave upon you, it's a breath of fresh air when you hear somebody that's real and that understands what this industry needs. And so I was just in awe and of what Mr. Navarro did, and just everybody in that room was in awe. And so, but I want to tell you, what we said there is true. This is not, it's not a show. It's not something that we say. I'll give you a reason why, Wences would be able to say yes, is because we've been together in the trenches, right? Just recently, we needed to go to Mexico. And we needed to go because some dear friends of ours that are in the industry that we do life with them, they don't know they're coming here, but they're going to be here shortly. It's but they had a bad diagnosis, a bad medical diagnosis, and these are dear friends of mine, and so and Carlos, and so Mr. Navarro has found a really good doctor in Ensenada, Mexico. And he had been telling me for months about it. And so I mentioned it to my friends and said, like, yeah, let's go. Well, off, we're supposed to go. And we mentioned it to Mr. Navarro, and he's like, okay, well, I'm coming with you guys. And then Edith, who was also at the event, I don't know if Edith is on here, but she's done life with us. And she said, I'm coming with you guys as well. And so why were they coming? We weren't there to recruit. We weren't there to try to build solar in Mexico. They were coming because they care about us. They know that we don't travel in Mexico. They know that we don't know the area well. We haven't been there probably in 15, 20 years. And at a drop of a hat, stop everything to make sure that when we're over there, we're not going to get lost. We're not going to get taken advantage of. Nothing bad is going to happen to us. And so that's the caliber of person that Mr. Navarro is. And
During a launch.
What's that? During a launch. Take 2 days off, leaving at 6 in the morning and coming the next day and worried because I was traveling with an expired passport and people thought it was going to be a born in East LA scenario on the way back. Right. So, but we made it through and that was great. Mr. Rangel, same thing. My son was living a phase in his life where, his confidence was a little low. And, Mr. JC just took out of his time and day to just coach him and train him on boxing and these skills and those skills and do it like this and like that. And my son goes, why don't you teach me how to do that? Mijo, I grew up in a place where we just got a bat and that's how we did, but so these are the types of people that we're doing life with. So when we talk about those things, it's a really close-knit group. Now, on top of that, it happens to be a really close-knit group that has all seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of the industry. And I've always said this, that when network marketing goes right, you can't compare it to anything. When network marketing goes wrong, you can't compare it to anything. So we've seen that. And part of the reason why is because some people think, hey, it's a great idea. Let's open up a network marketing company. And many times the people that are running it have never built it. They've never been in the field. They don't know what a three-way call is. They don't know what an opportunity meeting is. They don't know what a PBR is. They don't know the ethics. They don't know the unwritten rules of the industry. They don't know the gotchas. They don't know all of the hindsights that are going to make or break the company, because when you add all of those little things together, if the people at corporate don't understand that their company is not the product, their company is not the software. The company is the people, and your number one asset is the people. And so the only way you know that is by building it, right? That's it. And so when you have a corporate staff that's been in the trenches, have worked both sides of the field, has experience on the corporate level, has experience in the field at the highest level of performance, then you have an opportunity that you could feel safe in, number one. Number two, feel proud of. And number two, be able to once again feel good about bringing your friends and family into something that you know is going to be here for the next 10, 20 years. Now, another thing that you need to think about from a regulatory standpoint, Okay, and this is important from a regulatory standpoint. You have an opportunity here that complies with all of the things that typical network marketing companies struggle with, because everything is based on actual sales, actual products, actual customers. And so that in itself is something that you could feel good about. So I could go on and on and on, guys, about why you should be here. But I think most of you already have made that decision. But if that helps to really just kind of plant your flag here, you're in the right place with the right team. And again, folks, a lot of talent here on this call. But I'm going to tell you one thing: team trumps talent. So it's the team first, then the talent.
Yeah. So I want to switch gears for a minute, because this is the Millionaire call, right? And so I know every single person here. There's if I and I'll go just briefly, each one of you tell us what you believe has been the driving ingredient, and I'm going to end with Mr. Samuel Bean. And we'll start with Kevin, and then we'll go Wences, JC, Daniel, and then Mr. Samuel Bean. And then I want to hear a little bit about, what do you think has been the secret sauce, the one key ingredient that has helped you build an army of thousands of people, where people have actually earned money, have been successful financially? Because it's one thing to be in this industry for a long time, and it's a different thing to have a successful trajectory in this business. And so I want, and successful, as this group here defines it, every single person on here, is for other people to earn income, to earn high income, and to also be built up on the personal level.
Well, I'll just keep it simple. It's creating a very simple system that people can plug into and just do it again and again and again and again. The more complicated you make everything, people sit there and get the paralysis by analysis type thing. Where if you keep it simple, just plug it in, do this, this, this. Here's your first goal. Just drive for that. Until then, I don't want to hear any questions. Just do that and plug into as many meetings as possible, as many trainings as possible, and just go.
Perfect. Wences.
Yeah, so I was thinking about what you said, one thing, so I'll narrow it down to one thing. And I touched on it on Saturday. I think it's the belief. Like, I truly have the belief that if I think about something, I've done this throughout my life, right? The visualization works, right? And I always believe that if I'm looking for, in this case, the right people, I've been saying this since day one, right, JC? If we build it, they will come, right? And we're living it out right now, right? So if we build it, they will come. So I think it's that belief, right, that always gets me by and gets me to that next level.
I'm gonna, before we hear from Mr. JC, our first WhatsApp group was Daniel, Wences, JC, and myself, and that's actually what Wences named it. If we build it, they will come.
They will come.
That's right. I love it. That's so true. I second everything they say. I agree with it. One thing that came to my mind immediately was something I learned in 2010, I believe it was, from a mentor of mine. And he said, there's A players, B players, and C players. The A players are the ones that have made the 6 figures and plus. The B players are the ones that are making a couple $1,000s a month. But a lot of the B players still have, they have about the same amount of skill and about the same amount of experience as the A players, but they don't have a big ego like the A players. The C players are ones that haven't made any money yet, right? He said to me, I would much rather recruit the B players, because the B players have just, most of the time, just about as much skill and experience or close enough, but they don't have the big ego. So you got to stay green and do the things that got you to the dance always. Because a lot of times when people experience some success, they say, look at what I've done. Look at what I've done. Therefore, I need this and I need that. And they don't do the things that got them to the dance to begin with. So one of the things for me is that I always knew I got to make 50 phone calls a day. I don't make calls. You guys hear me in my trainings. I have to fire off 50 phone calls a day. I gotta be busier. If we were paying by the minute like we used to back in the days, my phone bill would be higher than everybody else. And one of the things is, even when I made my first $1,000,000, right? My best month in this industry has been $300,000 in a month. Not 1.2 million like Mr. Sam B, not over 1 million something like Mr. Danny Pacheco, but 300 grand, right? But after that, I still kept doing the same things, and I say I'm gonna go bell to bell. So it's about staying humble and not letting it get to your head, and still doing the fundamentals. And you should always be able to say, "Watch me, watch me." Personally selling. Here's, in a nutshell, here's what I focus on this business. I recruit, I sell, and I train to recruit and sell. That's it.
Beautiful. Daniel, Build a Bear.
Well, I think that you need to master a few skills, and one of them that we talked about on Saturday was the edification. I think that's fundamental. But aside from that, if you want to really become that A player in the industry that Mr. JC was talking about, you're going to have to put in some work, right? And you can leverage everybody's experience, but if you really want to get better, there's a few skills that you need to master. Number one is you got to prospect. You got to learn how to prospect. Number two, you have to learn how to be a good inviter. You got to invite to recruit. You have to learn how to manage those invites in 3 different categories on how you actually invite these people, depending on where they fall in your circle of influence. Then you got to learn how to present. You have to be able to present the opportunity. Once you present, you have to learn how to follow up. Once you learn how to follow up correctly, remember, Jim Rohn says the fortune's in the follow-up. Once you learn how to follow up, you need to set the right expectation. And that is key. Set the right expectation for yourself. Set the right expectation for the experience of network marketing as a whole, as an industry. Set the right expectations. A lot of people think they're going to jump into this industry and make $1 million their first year. That may happen. That could happen. However, statistically, it's probably not going to happen your first year, right? Unless you're somebody like a Mr. Bean or a Mr. Rangel or a Kevin Marino or a Navarro or a Carla Pacheco. She's so distracting. She's so beautiful. My wife, I can't, I can't even look at her. It's like, I gotta turn your camera off because I'm distracted here. Now I don't remember my list. Let's see. Okay, so you got to learn.
Even if you won.
you got to learn how to give the right expectation to people that's realistic, that's based on experience and really the numbers of our industry, right? And then beyond that, folks, you need to learn how to train. You need to learn how to train. You need to understand that when somebody joins your team, that's when the work starts. That's not the end of it. That's exactly when it starts. And so a long time ago, I learned this from my beautiful wife, because I was telling people, I showed up at a meeting and they're, I'm going to have all these people here. And I show up, there was nobody. Right. And then the gal was like, well, I don't know what happened. And I knew that she was doing a few things wrong, right? And I said, look, just invite them. They're your friends. They're going to come over, right? So I didn't want to really get into it. And I don't know what I said or how I said it. But when we left, my wife immediately told me, you know what, Danny? The gal, her name was Adriana. She goes, she's crying. And I said, what? No, she's not. You left her crying. I said, no, I didn't. And she goes, no, you did. And I turned around. I drove back, and she was right by her car outside of her house. And when we got there, she started doing this number, right? And I'm like, oh my God.
My wife is right.
My wife was right. Imagine that. And so I learned a big lesson that day. And this is what my wife said. She goes, these are not your salespeople. Okay. Yeah, I used to run sales teams, right? Traditional sales. And it's a very different environment, right? Very, very different environment. She goes, these are not your salespeople. These are volunteers that paid to be your volunteer. And it was probably the most profound lesson that I've ever learned in this industry. And I learned it about 20 years ago, folks. And we have to remember that when we train people, we're not training salespeople. We're training volunteers that paid to volunteer. And excuse me?
They're volunteers that paid to be volunteers until?
they make all their initial money back.
Mm.
So, so anyway, if you learn those skills, folks, you're going to be massively successful in this industry.
Wonderful. Yeah.
I love that. And then also to piggyback on what you said, Danny, it's easier and faster to develop those skills when you are plugging into the trainings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I call it scheduling success. I call it because that's what was taught to me by my mentors, right? You got to schedule success. What is that? Getting on these phone calls, getting on the training. If you look at it, right, it's not really a lot. We got the Monday morning trainings and we got these trainings, right? If you miss them, catch the recording. But every presentation, every event, do not miss an event. So, you know, we had an incredible event, and I think we get a lot of people on here that are saying about how this event impacted them. The big decisions are made at these big events, right? There's people that came up to me saying, man, the trainings alone or the meetings via Zoom alone do not do this justice. I'm so happy that I came here and I'm ready to go. There's one guy that says, JC, I just invested a lot of money into my merchant services business, and I'm gonna be putting that in the back burner because I want to build this, right? It's you know, anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you mentioned about scheduling success. I think, you know, I've taken a lot of certifications and things like that. And the one thing that we're taught is if you can't be on the live, you know, you have to get your calendar out. And for any of you that you're new, whether you're new, you've been here a while, it's like you have to keep your calendar. Every single thing has to be on that calendar. And if you know that you have, you know, something huge, doctor's appointment, something you cannot be on live, then schedule the time anyway of when you're going to watch the recording so that you don't miss it, because you do need to build yourself up. Look, this system has been designed in such a way that you can make a ton of money without knowing anything. But if you really want to, I mean, this is the millionaire call. So if you really want to get to the millions, you're going to want to develop yourself in certain skill set. And the only way you're going to do that, you're going to get paid here. You're really going to get paid while you learn. You're going to get paid to learn, because you're going to be able to promote, and then you'll be able to make some very good. I don't know any other industry, any other company in this industry where you can make $3,500 without really knowing how to make the $3,500, right? Because that's, I mean, really, all you had to do was get a bill. That's all you had to do. And because the people want to save something, but that's not where it ends. That's where it starts. That's for you to put some money in your pocket. And what we want is, we want you to become so successful. We want you to develop the skill sets. We want you to build a massive team. Yes, we do. Even those of you that are signing up without that being your number one priority, we want you to build that, because let me tell you something. You build it once. It's going to be the hardest for you to build it once, the first time. But after that, you're going to have a loyal following. You're going to have people that you have impacted. And the most fulfilling thing about this industry is that the reason that you have money in your pocket, when it comes from a team, from residual or overrides, the most fulfilling thing is that you know that somebody made money somewhere in order for you to get paid. And there is nothing in the world that gives you that kind of fulfillment in any other industry, in sales, in marketing. Anyway, that was my 2 cents. But now we can hear from Mr. Samuel Bean.
I thought I was going last. What about Kevin?
He did. He started.
He started.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but I'm over here taking notes, man. I'll tell you, I'm over here getting it in. I'm always learning. I'm always stealing these nuggets that these guys are dropping. And so, for me, it's like what I call my investment formula. Because I was asked this question, the same question, about 7 years ago at a seminar, and so when I sat back and I thought about it, it was an investment formula, because it wasn't just one thing, but it was about being a great investor. Okay? And so when I mean by being a great investor, one, the first place you invest in and always invest in is yourself. Okay, personal development, invest in your personal development. Okay, invest in your appearance, invest in coaching, invest in all that good stuff that's going to increase your value to the market and make you attractive to the people who you want to lead. 2, invest in leadership. Okay, I don't care if it's coaching, counseling, big events, and things like that, and get your ticket, get where you got to be. If it's somebody that's teaching you, that's making way more money than you make and making the money that you wanna make and living the lifestyle you want to live, and that person has the same philosophies as you, y'all just have different size bank accounts, invest in mentorship. Okay. Then you invest in systems. Okay. Because again, you want to make sure you put yourself in a position where once you've actually put everything together, you got everybody to buy into the actual system, you get the system going and growing, and you're empowering your people, to to build a system and run the system. You can work your way out of it, work your way out of a job, and you can actually have lifestyle. And then the last, and again, none of these are more important than the other, but invest in your people. Okay. So when you look at programs that you can invest in and have your people, like I partnered with Grant Cardone and invested in that program over 3 years ago. And my people have been role playing and learning how to do sales and stuff like that for the past 3 years. We invest in crystals when it comes to recognition every year, huge recognition ceremonies, trips, yacht experiences, anything and everything that we can invest in when it comes to our people. When it comes to empowerment, enrichment, encouragement, celebrating them, it's worth it because it comes back tenfold, not from everybody, but from the people who you have around you in your camps, that really, the 20%ers that are loyal to you, people who appreciate you and are grateful for you. Those are the people who, again, you're going to invest in everybody, but those are the ones that will pay it back forward tenfold, and your profits come from there. But that's my investment formula. But if I had to say one thing out of all of those things, it would be mentorship, because the more money I've invested on mentorship and I followed the mentorship, the more money I've made. I talked to you guys last night at dinner about, the one event every year I look forward to. I always look forward to the conventions because I get a chance to sit back in the seats and watch my people walk across the stage and, and get celebrated. Love that. But the thing that made us the most money as a group and as individuals were going to leadership boot camps, that were exclusive to people who had leadership ranks and can actually achieve those certain ranks. And we started those ranks at Sapphire, which is the smallest position in the company. It took a little bit to get there, a little bit of muscle, a little bit of belief to get there. But once you got that person to that actual position, that's when you knew they were able to take the information, and process it and implement it, that you were going to give it to them. You can't get that information to everybody because everybody's not ready for it. It's kind of like giving, an infant a steak. You can't do it. They're not ready for it. But at a certain level, they begin to understand things, and because they've been in the trenches, they've done presentations, they've done PBRs, like Mr. Pacheco said, they've been to events, they did 3 Ways and Lifelines, they did all of the things. So they followed your lead, and they got the foundation that you can build on top of. And then once you start getting them to those leadership boot camps, now all of a sudden they continue to raise people up and bring people to those same boot camps. And then you increase the boot camps as you go forward. So no longer can you get in at Sapphire, or at the lowest level. You got to get in at the next level, right? And so it forces people to get on faster. So, but leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership, guys. And but the most important thing is, lead yourself first, because if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anybody else.
Right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I will add something. I'll add my 2 cents to this one. I think that one of the things that has become very evident over the years for Daniel and myself, and I think we got it, I know we got it right from the beginning, but we didn't realize just that not everyone handles it this way. But it was actually something that really has been tested over and over, or they've tried to test over and over and over. And that's that your number one loyalty when you're building a team, it's all about loyalty, but your number one loyalty is to your team. It's not to the company. It's not to build. Your number one loyalty is not to build. Your number one loyalty is to the people, to your people. Your number one loyalty is to make sure that your people are taken care of, that they're getting everything they need, and that they have your integrity. Our number one loyalty as far as build corporate side, our number one loyalty needs to be to our people, which is all of you, to the leaders, and then from the leaders to their leaders, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because the one thing I know you're not going to get here in this company, it's never going to happen. Never, never, never going to happen. You have my word out for this, and I know you have Daniel's, and I know you have JC's, and I know you have Wentz's. Because we've been in scenarios where kind of like the Wizard of Oz, right? Where we've looked behind the curtain and there's stuff happening, and then they want you to handle the people in a certain way, knowing darn well what's happening behind the scenes. That's never going to happen here. This is built in such a way that it's, we're building a solid foundation. Whatever is happening, you will always know. We're going to be 100% transparent in that sense. But the one thing we will always do is be loyal to our leaders, because we have been in scenarios and we know what it's like to be in the field. We know that you're the one out there working. You're the one out there promoting. You're the one being the face of the company. You're the one representing the company. You're the one leading the people. So we know that you need to be taken care of. Your pay needs to be on time. The amounts have to be correct. That whatever we say we're going to do, we have to follow through in it. Will there be glitches as far as, yes, it's stuff like that, like, getting things out. That's one thing. But as far as what really matters, making sure that the integrity is there on your pay, on your compensate, whatever we say the compensation plan is, that is the compensation plan. That's what's going out. It's not that you get to a certain rank and then, things change for you. That's what it is. And more importantly is, the decisions that we make are going to be based on what's best for the field. And so that's my 2 cents. I think that's been one of the secrets, the one thing that has been and kept it all together as far as a team, and the reason why we can call each other up and we can do business together over and over and over again is because everybody knows that our loyalty is to them and making sure they're taken care of. We've walked away from salaries. Salaries in corporate. We've walked away from hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions, because we know that, okay, it's one thing to offer to take care of me and do wrong by the people. That's never going to happen. So anyway, that was my 2 cents. But in order for you to be successful, all of you, one of the ways that you can leverage expertise, and you can leverage all the trials and errors, and you can leverage all of the knowledge, is to be able to provide you with a system that works. And instead of you having to figure it out, instead of you having to reinvent the wheel, instead of you having to figure out, okay, this is wonderful, I watched this presentation, I watched this video, okay, I think I've got this figured out, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then you have a bunch of people doing a bunch of things and having inconsistent results. We want to help you become successful, and we want to provide you with the best that we can. And for that, who's going to head that up?
I could head that up.
Wonderful.
Okay, so, people that have been involved in network marketing for a long time, we've all heard the phrase, what a system stands for, the acronym, right? Save yourself some time, energy, and money. And the key to building a big successful business, we were all asked for one thing, right? So I think Kevin talked about a system, so did Sam. And yes, a system is something that everybody can follow, where a dud can recruit a stud, where it could work 100 levels deep and 1,000 miles away. That's how you grow success in a business. It's got to be duplicatable. I learned a long time ago, don't do what works, do what duplicates, because what works doesn't always duplicate, but what duplicates always works.
One more time. One more time.
That's a tough
Because that was gold.
It's a good one, right? It's a zinger. It says this: don't do what works, do what duplicates, because what works doesn't always duplicate, but what duplicates always works.
That's it.
I'll give you an example of this. I could be, let's say, for example, I was not very good at talking, but I got Mr. Sam Bean. I see him talking and stuff, and he's presenting and he answers people's questions and objections because he's a mentor. That's a part of the system.
you use upline leadership, right? To help you with that. I call my buddy, or let's say I'm a decent salesperson. I call my buddy Danny and I convince him just with my words, not with using the tools, the third-party tools, documented video that we produce, or a webinar or whatever, a third-party tool. But instead, I try to convince him. That may work. He may join. But let's say he were to not have the experience that I do. Now, I'm not really talking about Mr. Pacheco. He's got a lot more experience than me, right? But I'm just saying, right, an example. He might go, if he doesn't have the ability to talk like you do, he might go and talk to somebody, say, well, this is how I was recruited, so I'm going to go and try to convince my buddy and sell him and not use a system. Guess what? It worked for me to get him, but it didn't duplicate. But on the contrary, if I say, here's what we do here. We schedule success. Monday morning trainings, Monday evening millionaire mentorship call. Again, this is an introduction, ladies and gentlemen. We're giving you an introduction here, okay? So there's going to be a lot of different topics here. We schedule success, then Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, English Opportunity Webinar. We all drive there. In between, what are we doing? We're promoting the recorded webinars, right? We're doing the live events. We're doing all these things. What the system is, which this is the leadership council for the company right now, that we're getting together and we're building out a system that can be duplicatable, which Mr. Sam is going to talk about here shortly, right? So that is what I mean by do what duplicates, not so much what works. I still promote. I got probably 60 recruits in Build Network right now, okay? Ask me how many I went and presented the opportunity myself. Not one. They either got on a webinar or they watched a pre-recorded presentation. After they were done, I answered some questions. I even put some of them on the phone with Mr. Navarro, right? So we're going to teach you. I use the edification that Mr. Pacheco taught about on this weekend, right? So when we create that system, all of these trainings are going to go in the back office. This training by tomorrow morning is going to be in the back office in the training center. I don't know if you guys have seen it lately. A lot of the trainings that we've been doing, they're already in the training center because a highly trained team equals a highly paid team. So with that being said, talking about systems, and I'll say one more thing about this gentleman. A week from Saturday, so about 9 days ago, my buddy Hans asked me to get on a Zoom, and I thought it was a three-way call originally. So I was in the farmer's market. I was like, I'm going to time it, be done with the farmer's market, then I'm going to leave and get on a three-way call. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
He says, no, it's not a three-way call. It's a Zoom. I said, oh, man, sorry. There's some kind of miscommunication. Let me run to my car. So I go to my car. I get on Zoom. There's like 11 or 12 people on the Zoom, and I see one dude I recognize. And I said, let me read this dude's name because I'm on my phone, right? So I'm like, what? It says Sam Bean. And immediately I thought, this is what Mr. Navarro and I were talking about. If you build it, they'll come. We kept saying the big leaders are going to come. We just got to get the info out there. And to my surprise, it was this gentleman who I know is a legend in the industry. We were both in a healthy coffee business together, building huge organizations 10 years ago, right? We never worked together. I don't think we ever talked. I just knew who he was. He didn't know who I was, but I know who he was. And I'm like, this is exactly how words have power, how you got to believe bigger, faster, right? Now we got people like him here, and now he's going to talk about, can you, Mr. Bean, talk about the system, the ATM system, and give us your input on how you build such a big team being system driven, please?
Yeah, and going back to what you said, if you build it, they will come. I know Mr. Winston said that earlier. And then you turn around and say, you know what, there's power in words. And, guys, the words I told my wife, I said, look, what we did in that coffee company, or we're going to do that and some. We're going to do that tenfold. I said, because we're not dealing with coffee. We're dealing with something that a person can come in and start a career with without recruiting one person and make 5 figures in the first 30 days. I said, so what we have our hands on is incomprehensible to most people who've never really made money. And so when you turn around and look at, what you said, it was the same thing we said in 2008. And we said, we're not going to hire any superstars. We're not going to bring any leaders in here that has their own systems. They made millions over here, millions over there, because, like Mrs. Pacheco said earlier, anything that has more than one head is an abomination, right? And so you'll have a lot of confusion. There's no duplication as a problem. So we'll just go out here and take people who never had a check in 1 month of $1,000, $1,500, and $5,000, never more than that. And we'll turn them into $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per month people. And then all of the so-called superstars of the industry will come here. But when they come here, they will have to conform to the system, the culture, and the environment that we've already created without them. Okay. And that's what we are going to do right now. A lot of you who haven't made that type of money will be the reason you have people who are making $100,000 a month right now coming here, because they know if you can make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, somebody who's never made money at all, they can get to $100,000, to $500,000 a month, then $1 million a month. You'll be the reason they come here. So if that's going to happen, guys, it's going to happen because of the system. Okay. And so one of the things that I learned is this: a lot of people don't know how to create their own leads. A lot of people don't know how to go out there and do 3-ways lifelines and do presentations. A lot of people don't have the discipline to do follow-ups and follow-throughs, right? And when I said I invest in myself and I invest in my people, I went to an event at ANMP some years ago. I think it was 2016. And in the company that I was in, guys, we in that coffee company, I want to give you guys the dynamics of it. I want to give you guys the power of what we're about to explain and lay this out for you. I went to that event and I learned the ATM, add, tag, message. You hear me, Mr. Pacheco? Add, tag, message. So it was at dinner. You had to be there, guys. Inside joke. Get the leadership so you can get to those dinners. But when I learned this, and I'm gonna go over that process, what that was, I went back and I said, we're about to launch the shakes. And so I implemented it, built the ATM, and 30 days later, we launched the shakes with that ATM, right? And our volume in our group went up 300 grand that month. Our income, my wife and I income went up 20 to 25 grand that next month. And we went from, for the rest of that year, because it was the last quarter, we went from the number 13 money earners in the company to the number 3 money earners in the company. And it was not because we were special. It was because the system, right, that we built and that we adopted, right? And so right now, a lot of you are still making money on, the way that on the merits of the old days, the Amway days and the Mary Kay days and the herbal, those type of days. And things have changed, especially with technology, right? And so when you look at the Facebook group, Facebook is free. Okay. When you look at the Facebook group, Facebook has the target market that you want: people who have families, people who have houses, right? People who have responsibilities, people who have lost jobs and stuff like that, people who understand what the value of a dollar is. So that's your market. That's your target group here, right? And so when you look at that Facebook group, what you do is you get in, we're going to make it private. So a person has to be invited in there. Okay. So when you add a person into a Facebook group, okay, you're going to tag that person and say, hey, Idris, I just added you to this Facebook group for Build. I need you to accept it. Once you accept this invitation to the group, okay, I'm going to tag you into the presentation that's automated there. And it's 24-hour on demand, so you can watch it anytime you want. Okay, he's going to go in there. He's going to, because I tagged him in there, he's going to watch that video. Okay, now, he's going to do a couple of things. He's going to get started if he got excited when he saw that video, or he's going to, say, you know what, it's cool, when you're going to have to put him in the follow-up process. But this follow-up process is going to be different, because every time someone does a presentation in that group, guys, guess what? Idris is going to get a alert. It's going to say, hey, JC, Rangel is about to do a presentation, or Mrs. Carla Pacheco is about to do a presentation, or somebody's going to do a presentation. So he's going to get on another one at some point without you having to invite him to it. Okay. And then what's going to happen is he's going to get another exposure. And so we all know that when you have multiple exposures, you have more touches, that leads to what? Enrollment. Okay. So it's a automatic drip campaign, 1. 2, when you see the trainings, we're going to be doing this stuff live, and we're not doing anything outside of Facebook anymore. So if you have people who don't have Facebook accounts, tell them, come on, just open up an account just for this. Don't put a picture. Don't let anybody know you're on Facebook. Just come join the group, and that's going to be for that. Because if they want to be educated, they want to be empowered, they want to put themselves in a position where they're in the way of the information and making money, you don't give them a choice. You impose your will on them, and you tell them where they need to be wealthy. Okay, so they'll get in there. So, but what happens is also when you have the Millionaire Mindset training on Monday nights, guess what? That's going to be aired in there. So if a person is on there, they're going to get fed. If they're not, guess what you do? You tag them in the Millionaire Mindset call. And you say, hey, this is what Kevin Moreno trained on. You need to go watch this. Okay. This is what Jabari, trained on. This is what these leaders, train on. I met Elvis this weekend. This is what Elvis trained on, right? And so, again, another inside joke. But every time we go live in that group, it's a drip campaign. Every time we go live in that group, guys, there's value that's being added, and people get a chance to see not one person, but multiple people add value. Okay. And so that's empowered. So we also going to do recognition in there as well. So when you see people who are hitting rank, you see people who are making checks or whatever we want to recognize in there, guys, contest winners, all this stuff. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to have you tag your people in that actual, in that post, so people can see, man, these people are taking care of their people. These people are making big money. These people are rank advancing, or these people are saving a lot of money on there, because we're going to be recognizing people for saving money. Think about it. What gets rewarded gets repeated. Well, I want to get recognized for having a solar system, and so all of a sudden you have people getting recognized for what you want them to do, and they're going to do it because they want to do it, not because you're forcing them. Okay. And this is where you learn how to push politely, right? But think about this as well. You have the ability, guys, because remember, we do presentations twice a week. At some point in time, imagine having a live presentation Monday through Friday. Okay. And imagine it's somebody different doing it every day. Imagine it's somebody who rank advanced and qualified because all they do is presentations that we've vetted them on your behalf. But now you have a doctor doing a presentation on Monday, an attorney doing a presentation on Tuesday, a roofer doing a presentation on Wednesday, and a whatever on Thursday and whatever on Friday, right? You have all these different presenters, all of them coming up in the ranks, right? All of them qualified, all of them vetted, all of them doing presentations, and all of them being replaced by you, up and coming presenters, because it's all about leadership development, guys. And so you're going to see a system unfold. Like right now, you have 117 people. Guys, I'm going to call it right now, Project 10,000. Okay, Project 10,000. Let's get 10,000 people in this ATM right away. If 100 of you guys put 100 people in ATM out of your Facebook groups, you got 10,000 people in here. And you want to understand what type of buzz 10,000 people can create, what type of buzz, let's just say 1,000 of those 10,000 get a check, $1,000 check for the month, a $5,000 check for the month, $2,000 check for the month, their first close on a solar system, their first recognition, whatever it is, rank event. And that's, you got 1,000 out of 10,000, you got 9,000 eyeballs watching 1,000 get recognized for something. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to go bananas. And guess what? They're going to invite more people to the ATM. So at some point in time, you progress from 10,000 to 50,000, and then to 50,000 to 100,000. And you have a market share of the actual group in your group, a market share of the actual ATM, driving the production, driving the recognition, driving the influence of the company in your group. Guys, I'm going to say it. This is one of the things that changed my life, and I've used the ATM in every situation I've been in. And I can just tell you, I've skyrocketed to 6 figures almost overnight in every one of those scenarios using the ATM. And I'm not the best speaker. I'm not the best presenter. I'm not the best trainer, but I am the best implementer of what I learned. And if you can become a great student and just follow a simple set of instructions without deviating from the plan and put people in the way we tell you guys, I can just say right now, when you wake up a month from now, 2 months from now, when we get ready to go and have our actual launch, and I'll let them tell y'all where it's going to be. But when we go to the launch, You fill up the room with your market share based on with the damage that you did in the ATM. You fill up the stage based on the damage that you did in the ATM. You have all your people rank advancing, having big checks, and at some point, all the stuff that I'm not going to give it up. I'm going to stop right there. But imagine that a large percentage of everybody that you see in Vegas in those seats belong to you because you were the only person out there taking full advantage of what we're talking about right now. Imagine that, right? See yourself winning, okay, and see yourself winning with the system. That's what I do. That's the one thing that it's like the underdog's equalizer. If you ever want to, be, on the same level as JC without actually having his skill set, his work ethic, and having his, and having his charisma and everything, the system can help you catch him. Okay. You don't have to be as witty and as charming as Mr. Pacheco. Okay. But the system can make you look like you are. Right. And so it can't help you. It can't help you be as beautiful as Mrs. Pacheco. So the system can't help you with that. But your money can be beautiful. All right. But let's get this ATM is going to be awesome, guys. I can just tell you right now, I'm excited about the ATM and what it's going to do for you. But I'm gonna just tell you, the ATM, what it represents for me is open-minded leadership, flexibility as a company. Oh, and when I talked to Mr. Winston, he said, you know what? I just talked to JC about this. Ask him. And I'm like, man, these people, we're all on the same land. We all going in the same direction. And man, I'm just pumped. So I'll turn it back over to you, JC.
Well, listen, man, I am getting pumped up more and more. I'm ready to run through a brick wall. If there was a brick wall in my house, I'd be running through it right now, bro. Yes, very, very excited. Here's one thing I will say that, we have to take advantage of the fact that we have, a large audience here. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you haven't noticed, the upgrade feature in your back office is available. You want to make sure that you lock your position in, so go ahead and upgrade ASAP, right? So a lot of people have upgraded, especially over the weekend. Now's the time to go. Here's one thing I will say, with putting these systems here together, nobody's doing solar with team building, with this comp plan, the way we are. We have a legitimate network marketing company with incredible proven leadership that's been proven for decades. They don't know what's going to happen, man. What we're going to come and build here, the mentors that are part of this company, we got the best installer in the industry. That's easy.
Yeah.
Oh, the mentors, those of you that are looking for a career here, right? The leads are going to come. You imagine when we get to those 10 to 50,000, and the people that have been involved in something like, I've seen teams do that and absolutely skyrocket. Sam Bean has done that himself. When we all are pushing at the same time, it is a wrap. So buckle your seatbelts. If you're not going to take advantage of this opportunity, here's what I would tell you so you can profit some. Invest in some hinges, because we are going to blow the doors off the hinges. So get excited, man. What else? What else?
I think that one of the things that there's scenarios where you can create momentum, and there's scenarios where you can leverage momentum. And you have some momentum creators in this company that they just taught you the strategy that they're going to be using. I mean, Mr. Samuel Bean just told you exactly what he and his team are going to be doing. And so if, as a company, if everyone leverages that momentum, you're going to see that people are going to be approaching you. When you present yourself and you position yourself as someone who is with Build, right when that momentum is happening, they're going to remember, and that name's going to start, it's going to start circulating, especially when they start hearing about the type of income that's going to be created. It's really going to make them do a double take, because they're going to have heard about it, and then they're going to start seeing what people are really generating with these high ticket sales, and they're going to say, wait, what, you did what? Trust me, they're going to be looking you up. So make sure you get yourself positioned. Make sure that you not just position in the genealogy and get activated. I mean, positioned in publicly to be seen as someone who is representing Build, and that you are leveraging that momentum creating strategy of ATM, because it's actually it's a brilliant system to market your business, to keep them plugged in, to keep them engaged, and just have, like someone just posted on here, drip, 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 right? That's exactly what's going to be happening. So that's what I would be doing if I were you. You know, you're leveraging something that's a proven system, it's worked, and it's going to create the momentum, and you're going to leverage that momentum.
Ms. Carter, can I say something real
Carl,
quick?
Sam, I want to read a quick message really quick here.
Go ahead.
Really quick. So I got a text message. I won't say his name, but he's on here right now. He's a good friend of mine from high school. So we'll figure out who he is. He said, bro, this is like listening to everything you have said to me before. This is all going to work so good. Right? This goes with what Mr. Pacheco was talking about in the training, right? You can't be a prophet in your own land. I've known this guy since high school. I've been telling him this for 3 years. And all of a sudden now Mr. Bean said it and he's like, oh yeah, it's gonna work. So this is why it's important to get your people on these calls and trainings, because if they hear it from someone else, it might not be me. It might be, they might like JC style, right? We could be all saying the same thing, but it might be Carla, it might be Danny, it might be JC or Mr. Bean or Kevin Marino, whoever, I don't know, whoever they identify with, right? Sometimes it's just timing. Words are powerful, and who they're coming from, I guess, also matters.
Yeah.
It does.
And it works that way for us all. Like I said, again, sometimes your people, auto-tune you out, and it's not on purpose. They love you, but they've heard your leadership so much where they're numb to it. And so again, it just takes a different voice. That's why I said you want different presenters. That's why I said when you have different people coming up training that are qualified, you'll have different people reach the people who you can't. And I know for a fact that I'm not naive enough to think that because I did this in my life and business, all my people have to listen to me. They're going to listen to me. That's nonsense. That's not how it works. But just also just touching base on what Ms. Carla said, guys, it's not enough for you just to be in the company. When we go in momentum, go through momentum, and go out here and break records, you have to be the reason why we do it. You have to make contributions, and there's going to be a subset of you, who we're going to pray for. And I tell you, it's two totally different prayers. And we're going to obviously pray for the ones who miss it, and because some of you won't recover, from it. And the other ones, we're going to pray that you know what to do with your money when you make it. Because I hear too many stories of people, who say, what I used to have, and we had this, we had that, and we don't have it anymore, which is why I'm glad they have the money management, strategies and stuff in our system to where you guys can get rich and stay rich. But again, Mr. Wentz, man, I'll tell you, it was, I know I told you, in person, how your story impacted me. And I'm just telling you again, that was one of the main reasons, that your story was one of the main reasons I felt at home. That, and, you guys talking about family, and talking about your wives, your kids, and JC having his kids on stage. I remember having my kids on stage, and Kevin talking about having his dogs on stage, his kids, his other kids, on stage. But just the family environment, the family atmosphere that you guys have actually put out front. You put it out there way beyond the money, and, being happy, being comfortable, and being in an environment that we know for a fact we can bring anybody into. It means the world to people who really are looking for a home. And so I can promote this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I just want to say thank you.
Well, folks, I just want to tell you that I'm getting off this call. I'm going to go put up my, all 5,000 Facebook friends on the ATM. So I got to go. Thank you so much for being on the call. For myself, you guys to stay on. But I got to jump out. I have a recruiting call right now at 8:30. So I got to jump on that. They're waiting for me on another Zoom call. So love everybody here. Thank you, Mr. Bean. Thank you, Mr. Marino. The founders, love you guys, and love everybody that's on this call.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, we wanted to make this an introduction to the Millionaire Call. I know that you guys have gotten some nuggets today, and today was a little bit of a different feel, right? Because it was an introduction to the Leadership Council and the people that are going to be doing this call. Mr. Bean, if you could touch on some of the, so people get an idea, some of the subjects, and we're not always going to go this long. We may go an hour, we may go an hour and a half, right? Maybe two. If you could touch on approximately how long this call goes so people can expect it and mentally prepare for it. And also, what are some of the subjects that we are going to be covering on this call moving forward?
Yeah, a millionaire mindset, a millionaire mentorship call can go anywhere from 45 minutes, like you said, an hour 25, hour 30 minutes, just depending on the call. But I normally like to keep mine around about an hour, and that way, if people are in and they're out. But guys, getting rich has no time limit.
Yep.
If you worry about how long a call is going to take for you to get rich, and you're listening from people who actually have your answers, not your problems, then rich is not for you. You're not ready for it. Just being honest with you. At no point in time should anybody apologize for feeding you. And so be prepared to get what you need and what's required to be successful. That's what I want to warn you about. Just want to prepare you for, because I'll tell people at an hour, say I'm going. So if you got to go, go. But for the people who are serious, and it's not saying if you have to get off and you're not serious. If you have to get off and get back in to the ATM where it's recorded at, where you can watch the rest of it. But be present. Don't be doing everything else besides paying attention to what's going on that call. And so do everything you can so you can actually take that time out for you, your family, and your future. Okay, because what we have planned for you guys is very, very special, and we're going to need you and the best form of you that we can get as possible. But you'll see on those Millionaire Minds mentorship calls, guys, you'll see skill set training, you'll see mindset training, money management training, you'll see just a lot of different things, guys, that's going to help you beyond building your business. It's going to be more about building relationships, how to introduce yourself to people, how to actually close deals. It's all kind of different things, but we want to build more of you than your business, because once we build you, you can go out there and do what's required, to make your business grow and blow up. But I'm gonna have a ton of different topics that I'm going to be sending over to JC and Mr. Winsons, and again, we are going to bring those topics out as we're building, and we're going to be progressively growing into those topics, because we don't want to just train on something just because. We want to make sure we're training on purpose, and that what you get is what you need at that moment.
Right. That's
Awesome.
right.
Go ahead, Carmen.
No, I was just thinking, there's one of my biggest passions has to do with breaking through limiting beliefs and just changing a person's paradigm, like their whole programming. 90% of what we do is unconscious. Really, like 90% of what we do, we're on autopilot. And so the more awareness that we can bring some of that, why we tick, how we tick, and money is a mirror. How you do money is how you do everything. That's why I love the Smart Money Club, because how you do money is how you do everything. It's so, and it's not because money is the only thing. It's a very important part of us, but it is one mirror. And many times, a lot of the behaviors and thoughts and beliefs that we have, it shows up in how we handle money and how we make or keep or don't keep money. But it really is because there's other limiting beliefs, and it's showing up in other places as well. And so one of the things that I know is that this millionaire mentorship Zooms, these millionaire mentorship meetings, because that's what they're going to be. They're going to be meetings. It may be workshop. It may be a workshop type thing where you're actually working through stuff while you're being taught it. Or it may be more of a what do you call it? What do you call it in college when they're giving the information? Anyway, more like a seminar, right? And some might be like a workshop. So be prepared. Be prepared for the unexpected, because it also is about breaking you out of your routines. And so be prepared for the unexpected on this millionaire millionaire mentorship training calls, because I have to get in there. I have to get used to saying it, right? But these are going to be the breakthrough calls. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to be here. I appreciate everybody getting on here. I'd love to get any parting words, parting thoughts from the panel here. And again, we're gonna bring some tremendous value to this, because I guess I'll start off by my parting words, right? I have the philosophy, and I believe everybody here has a philosophy, and I know that Mr. Navarro has a philosophy, Mr. Pacheco, because we had this conversation, and I could tell from working now with Sam and talking with Sam and Kevin Marino that they do as well. But the philosophy is we want to build strong people, right? That build the strong company. Does that make sense? If we do the right thing and we build strong people where your self-confidence increases, you start thinking like a millionaire. Can we agree, ladies and gentlemen? You can put a 1 in the chat if you agree, or a 2 if you disagree. Can we agree that people that have made millions and continue to make millions think differently than people that do not, right? So if we get people to start believing different, thinking different, acting different, teaching them the philosophies that create success, because it isn't just the skills. I kind of touched on this last weekend on the mindset, right? And one of the things that I know that I noticed with Sam in that company, that when I found out who he was, one of the things that impressed me the most is this, which I see a lot of parallels. They took a bunch of people that were C players and B players. They didn't really bring a lot of A players. Were you an A player when you went there to the coffee company, or would you consider yourself a B player?
At that point in time, I was a B player.
Okay, perfect example. So a B player, not an A player that already had achieved, but what they did is they focused strong on millionaire mentorship calls and building people up. I guarantee you, when you start, the way that I think now is significantly different than the way I thought 20 years ago and 10 years ago, right? And some of you guys, I start to see it as you keep plugging in. And some people, it's just a matter of time. Then you're going to grow like a hockey stick. So yes, skill development is going to be taught here, but a lot of personal development is going to be taught here, because we don't want to get people to build a company, right? We want to build people, right? That'll help us build a very strong company. So I'm excited for this, and it's the beginning of something very special. So that's it for my part.
Wonderful.
I can jump in quickly, and I'll leave Mr. Wences Navarro to play cleanup tonight. Folks, you've heard me say it many times. Butts in the seats wins the game. Whoever puts the most butts in the seats will win the game every single time. You have to know, literally, you don't even have to know how to close here. You don't have to know anything about solar. You don't have to know any of the details. All you have to do is put the butts in the seats. That's it. And this ATM group is going to give you the opportunity to literally put hundreds of butts in the seats so they can learn the information on an ongoing basis. So this will just supercharge the ability for everybody to put butts in the seats. So take advantage, because if we do that job correctly and it gets to we do the project 10,000, which we should be able to hit, in the next day or so, and then turn it into project 50,000 and project 100,000. I'll tell you what, this company will just absolutely explode. So just remember, last name of the game, butts in the seats.
There you go. And again, I definitely want Mr. Winston to go last and close this thing out as he should. And I'll make this quick, but it's guys, most people don't make money because they don't know how to count. Okay. And I'm not talking about, academics. I'm talking about numbers, how to build. And so when you take, let's just say you get 1 out of 10, out of every 10 people you put in the actual ATM to get started, and you put 100 people in there and you get 10, you have 5 on the left and 5 on the right. You got 100, you got 50 on the left, 50 on the right, 50 in the ATM, but 100 in the ATM, but you got 10 in your business, 5 on the left, 5 on the right, they get started. Okay. Now, what happens when your 10 do the same exact thing? Okay. So you've all heard the power of 10. Okay. And so now, over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months, you put your 100 plus in, and all of a sudden your team is doing the same exact thing. Guys, you can literally have thousands of people in ATM by yourself, and you only started with 100. Okay. Thinking about having those type of resources, right? Available where you have your pipeline so full, because the ATM is your pipeline. It's an active pipeline. It's a cultivating machine. It's an incubation on steroids type scenario where you have all these people, instead of them being in your phone or being on your list or being in your Facebook getting likes and stuff like that, they're in the ATM, warming up to what you actually are doing. Okay. And so those 10 are going to lead to thousands. Remember, we don't go out there and we don't lead hundreds of thousands of people. We lead 10 to 20. And those 10 to 20 will lead 150 to 250. And those 150 to 250 will lead thousands. Okay? And so it's about understanding, how numbers work and how to count in network marketing and direct sales. So get away from your calculators and get into your ATMs, guys. Mr. Wentz, it's all yours.
How do I follow that? All right. So I'm gonna stick to my topic of belief, because I think that today it goes with what we talked about today and with the ATM perfectly. And I think if for you to build belief, I think if you take small actions, right, small actions, that leads to belief, right? We talked about how some people have to see it to believe it. Well, guess what? If you plug in a few people, right, there's no physical pain in sending a text message or making a phone call and very politely ask somebody that you're going to add them to a group, you're going to tag them in a video, and you're going to message them after they're done, right? There's no physical pain involved. It's not difficult to do, right? But those actions are going to lead, when you start to see the results of those actions, are going to increase your belief level, right? You plug somebody in, all of a sudden they watch a video and you get a message that they want more information, that builds your belief, right? So yeah, I hear an echo.
I can't mute it.
All right, there we go. So I think that we have broken it down so everybody can do this, right? I mean, the only thing left for us to do is to say, hey, let me just go find people for you, call them for you, message them for you, and then give them for. I mean, what else is there for us to do? We're telling you leverage. I touched on leverage, which was one of the other things. This is leverage at its finest, right? You're going to leverage other people's communication skills. They're, it's just everything that I touched on Saturday. So with that, just go take action. Small actionable steps is what we've broken it down to here. And I'm a true believer of this system. And I had just talked to Mr. JC Rangel about it. And then a couple of days later, I find out that Mr. Sam Bean is the master at it. So I was like excited beyond belief. So
Very, very good.
go take action.
All right.
And with that, you have your instructions. So as far as the Facebook group, we'll go ahead, we'll share the group link on the WhatsApp group. And then obviously the leaders that are in there will send it also to anyone that's not in the WhatsApp group. And then JC, I know we want to talk a little bit about the promotion that's happening.
Yes. So remember, just a quick reminder, right? There's a promotion to the end of the month, right? First place, 2,500, second place, 1,000, then 500, 250, 250. So there's 5 places. You get points for every lead generated, every appointment set, every sale made, every recruit made. So it's got to be paid recruits. Remember, here's what I want to see. I'll give you guys a millionaire tip here. Be extremely coachable and ask yourself this question. This is very important. Who have you been listening to? Who have we been listening to will be a direct, what we've achieved is in direct proportion to our beliefs, our actions, but also who we've been listening to. If you ask anybody on this call here today, they will tell you, sign up yesterday if that's what you needed to do. But since you can't do it yesterday, you could only do it today, take action. So here's what we're going to do. Because we're a small company, we're seeing what the numbers are. And let me tell you who big leaders look to work with. There's a couple of rules to building. Number 1 is exposure is everything. ATM, we're going to do a lot of exposure. Number 2, the fortune is in the proper follow-up. And number 3 is work with the willing. The people that are willing are the people that are connected. Kudos to all of you guys for being on here an hour and 45 minutes. I commend you. It's not always going to be that long, but it doesn't matter how long it is. Doesn't matter how long it is, right? We're talking about when we came up in the industry, we were in meetings longer than this every single week in person that we'd have to drive an hour, 2 hours to.
That's right.
This is so easy these days. Nobody's trying, right? That's why very few people make $1 million plus. but we're going to give it to you the way it's supposed to be. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're going to be nice. We're going to be respectful, but we're going to give you the raw truth, right? There's a group of respectful entrepreneurs and leaders. So here's what I want to see today. People go into their back office and select their pack and then take a screenshot and put it in the group. Let's see who's going to be coachable, who's going to follow through, who's saying, hey, listen, I'm ready to win. I'm ready for success. And guess what? Go and get those points towards the end, because we are going to be excited to announce that. And the way that you get started is the way that your people are going to get started. So remember that contest. I'll go ahead and put the flyers once again for those of you guys that may not know. There's a contest between now and the end of the month. Take advantage of it. Very soon, we're going to be announcing the official launch event location and date. Stay tuned for that. So you want to build momentum. Take massive action. That way, those of you guys that missed this weekend's event, you don't want, trust me, you do not want to miss the launch event that we got, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not about just being there. You got to go and work to be there with an army for that historic event. So it's go time. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you on the WhatsApp group, and we'll help you get started on that ATM with the Facebook group. Make sure that you start prepping everybody, start adding them, and then tag and message. Have a great night. See you on the next call.
Hasta mañana.
Good night, everybody.
Wow, I see you made it to the end. Click the subscribe button if you want more valuable content to increase your economic IQ, level up in life, and get notified every time we go live in the Business Mall and the Foresight Business Academy. Hey, thank you for watching.